Hey there, fellas. You might remember this old thing we made a while back. And the idea for this video is to combine that their car and this concoction. Now, I've seen quite a few people asking we start a car on compressed air. And so that's what we'll be going for. We're going to be running a Lada engine while feeding it compressed air, with absolutely no atmospheric air coming into the engine. Just the compressed air contained within this receiver. We have a compressor at our disposal that can get the pressure up to 8 kilos with no trouble at all. The volume is 50 liters. You can do the math as to how much air that would be. But our goal is to find out how long we can run a car off of this tank. And from there we can go ahead and extrapolate, say, if one tank is good for 10 minutes, then 2 is 20, 3 is even more still. Anyway, let's set everything up and see how it's gonna work. Let's do this. Compressed air forced induction for a Lada. Translation and voiceover by BMI Russian. Okay, so check this out, guys. We decided to go a totally different route than we wanted to initially. First of all, we're using a different car, which we consider better suited for the purpose. For driving in extreme conditions. And on top of the carburetor, we have this big receiver. That's for there to always be a large quantity of air in this area. That'll be readily available for the engine to suck in. Then we have a couple of hoses feeding it. Also, we found out that when using a 50-liter tank, the engine is only going to run for like, literally, a couple of dozen seconds. And so, as you can see, we've gone and placed a few compressed air cylinders onto the floor. So once we crack these open, we'll get a reading on the pressure gauges. But we're promised that the pressure inside each of them is 150 atmospheres. Which is good, I mean, they'll last longer. These are just 40 liters each, but that is enormous pressure. Okay, everything is hooked up and in position, it's all looking good. Now, we have done some tests with just the receiver and the hoses disconnected, and the engine is able to run, and even build revs. So the size of the tract is very much sufficient. Now it's just a matter of trying the engine out on compressed air. We're very curious to see it in action. So yeah, let's fire it up and do a bit of fine-tuning. And just see how well it's able to run. Let's find that out, shall we? But first, let's crack the cylinders open. $101 of them. And in here, also 100. Fantastic. That should be more than enough for what we're doing. Come on now. You can do it. Without a doubt in my mind. Okay, so check this out. What have we got? Yeah, we do have a bit of black smoke. Probably not a huge problem. Added a bit more, and now we are doing really well. It's running. Definitely gotta go for a drive now. Will you look at that? It's moving around just fine. It was. It looks like we have too much excess pressure. That's not ideal. Meaning what? I think we need to set up some kind of blow-off valve. Yeah, that's what we're missing here. Yeah, we definitely need to set one up. We need to install one of those, what do people call them? Fart valves. It's basically a regular valve with a tiny ball and a spring. And we can set it up so that if the pressure inside the receiver exceeds, I don't know, say half an atmosphere, it'll release any extra air. And that'll get rid of this issue we're experiencing with the engine running poorly with there being too much pressure. Also, with this sort of pressure, the gasoline can easily be pushed out through a gasket or something. This being a carbureted engine instead of a fuel-injected one. And that's not a good situation. So yeah, let's go ahead and fit a pressure gauge, a blow-off valve, tune it to release anything above a modest pressure, to prevent excessive buildup in there. And that should make everything a whole lot better. Okay, so a few modifications are in order, and then we do some proper testing. Okay, we fitted everything we needed to. We got the blow-off valve on there. It is small, but it will give us at least some pressure relief. Now let's go ahead and start it. Now we have adjusted the screw to crank up the idle on this engine, because we want it to be able to run confidently at all times. Oh yeah, forgot to crack open the bottles. That's one. Now we open the other one. Building revs. I'm monitoring the gauge, and everything seems to be alright. We brought the idle up, and it's not moving any further. That's good. The engine is currently running just on the air from these cylinders. That's me opening the first bottle. Now let me crack open the other one. The revs have gone up. Very nice. Seems to be getting enough air. Yep. Okay. We can drive around now. Oh, it is very confident to move around. This doesn't have any shocks in the back, but whatever. That's not important right now. What's important is just to drive around. See how the car is gonna move, how it's gonna accelerate. And it accelerates pretty well, actually. Now let me flip around. But the cylinders seem to be running out of air, look at that. Let me add a bit more. And I stalled it. Let me close these. Because we don't want the pressure to build. Now the fact that I stalled it is not good. I guess I need to practice so that I don't. Maybe use the low range? We're moving, very nice. And it's even quite peppy. Great, second gear. Now we're in second, everything is going well. Everything's great. I doubt we'll be using second for the next experiment. Now we're gonna be moving very smoothly and carefully for that one. What's the pressure? Okay, well, compressed air is something you use around the workshop, but I'd still say it's running out pretty quickly. The reason obviously being that an engine consumes a lot of air in order to run. Our local roads, man. Yeah, no problem, I guess. That's too much? Yeah, that's a bit too much. Okay, let me go ahead and close this. We don't need the excess pressure. Now let me crack open one. And the other. Excellent. No, that's still too much. Okay. I'll just turn it down then. As long as I don't go too crazy. On my way. I'm honestly pressing the pedal on reflex. I mean, I realize that I should take it easy, but the reflex is still gonna kick in. Come on now. Come on, you can do it, come on. Come on. Okay, there we go. We are on our way. But don't try and throw me out now. This thing rips. As soon as a bit of pressure builds inside that receiver that we fitted to make the car faster, away it goes. Fantastic. Mind the bumps? Perhaps let off slightly. It is so much more eager to move now. I mean, we have taken a load off of it, having engaged the low range. That'll take some load off the engine. Come on now. Yeah, we're moving with aplomb. It's been a while. I think one of the cylinders is at 0. Or almost at 0. Oh yeah. So is the second one, as a matter of fact. The pressure inside both of them amounted to 100 atmospheres, and I was only able to drive about maybe... Well, considering how many times we started it in preparation, plus there was the fine-tuning, and we do seem to have it dialed in, which is a good thing. Out of my way. Excellent. And I've made it back, which is quite nice. Curious how long they'll be able to last. The pressure in both cylinders is at 0. Wait, was one of them not fully open? Yeah, I'd probably better pay attention. Make sure the pressure isn't too high. Make sure the needle doesn't go up. Otherwise, I'm gonna flood the engine to the point where it's gonna stall. I am curious how long we can keep this up. Right, one of them has already decided to quit. Yeah, they have no more pressure left to give. They're running out of air. We done. The cylinders are almost empty. It can still idle though, but then that's not of my interest. It won't build revs. And I barely see any smoke. In theory, when the mixture is lean... Oh, there it goes. We should be seeing black smoke, which is a sign that there's not enough air. And that's a wrap. Can you maybe maintain idle for a bit? Come on. It won't. This definitely won't be able to drive. And there you have it. Both of these contained 100 kilos, 100 atmospheres. And I wasn't able to drive it far. It was probably around 10, 12 minutes. Okay, so I'm being told that I was out for around 10 minutes. Yeah, that sounds about right. That seems like a decent enough duration even, for an engine to run off of 2 such cylinders. Mind you, the engine wasn't pulling any ambient air in, only what was contained within these 2 compressed air cylinders. Okay, so 100 kilos were good for 10 minutes. And if we were to pump in, well, these are rated at 300 and even 330, so if we put in... Then again, I don't think the reducers can handle that sort of pressure. So I reckon 150, 180 atmospheres should put us in a good spot. That'll allow for the engine to run even longer. But even 10 minutes should be enough to do a bit of testing in a certain type of extreme environment. I'd say we're looking good here. Send in your suggestions, people. We'll make it happen. And that's all I got for you. You saw it all for yourselves. This works and everything went well. Send in your suggestions, comment, give us a big thumbs up. All right, catch you later. I'm gonna go buy me a wetsuit.